is poppin'? It is your Taurus here, and I am back with another video.
Hey my lovelies, so as of recently I've been so inspired by Sadie's Corner here on YouTube. Make sure you check her out because she's a fellow Canadian YouTuber like I am, but she just inspired me to get my machine out and just start cutting up some of my clothes. So I was like, what should I make? Although it's quarantine, I've been seeing so many beautiful women on my Instagram page with these bikinis. I'm like, I don't got one, so why not make it? So if you want to see me go from this to this, make sure you click the subscribe button down below. Click the bell where you're added so you're notified each time I post a new video, and let's get into it. So I'm going to be using this skirt. It's really pretty, but I never wore it, so I just decided to make use of it. So the first part of this is to make your patterns. Now for the bottom, I traced out a pair of underwear that I really like, and I like the shape of it, and it was exactly what I wanted for the bikini bottoms. So I went ahead and I traced that out, and I'm using my measuring tape just to make sure I have even measurements because it was hard to kind of trace around that lace. So once I have my dots and everything in place, I went ahead and used my ruler to straighten those lines out just to make sure that everything is even and all my measurements come together. For the back part of the bottoms, I folded the underwear in half, and I also folded the piece of paper in half so that when you open it, that half becomes a whole, you know what I'm saying? It becomes the whole back piece. So I went ahead and I traced that out on the folds. Went ahead and I connected my lines with the ruler, and I added 1/2 inch to the back part simply because I thought that the underwear itself was a bit too cheeky. I didn't want my bikini bottoms to be as cheeky, even though it did turn out like that, but yeah. So I went ahead and I took the pattern and I put it on a fold and I pinned the pattern down. Now when you're doing this, make sure you try to put the pattern on the wrong side and you cut it on the wrong side, which is what I did here. Then I went ahead and I added 1/2 inch seam allowance all around. Now you can add your seam allowance to your pattern, but I didn't because I didn't have the necessary equipment to trace that out. Okay, so for the front piece, I put it like this, and I was gonna fold it and have the cloth also fold in half, but I want to make sure that the pattern is continuous through the front and the back, and I didn't want to make any mistakes since when you fold it, it's sort of on a bias. I just wanted to make sure it's flat as possible and I get the pattern to go evenly, so this is how I did it. I'm gonna go ahead and add 1/2 inch seam allowance around all the sides. Besides the top, I'm gonna add 1 inch seam allowance for our little loop that we're gonna put in. So yeah, for the top, we're gonna basically measure your boob. So from where you want the straps to start to the bottom of your boob, and then you're gonna do from one side to the other side of how much you want your boob to be covered with the actual cloth. Next, you go ahead and you transfer those measurements onto your pattern paper. You create a triangle, make sure the triangle is even. So you would draw the tip of the triangle at the middle of the base, and then you cut it out. Arum. Once you have all your main pieces cut out, which is the front and the back bottoms and the 2 triangles for the top, make sure you cut out about 5 1-inch pieces for your string. Next, we're gonna go ahead and make a lining, and I'm using an old pair of leggings. I just cut that up, and you're gonna take your pieces and you're gonna place that on the cloth and just cut it out simply. So you want it to be the exact shape of the piece, and all pieces are going to have a lining, so make sure you cut a lining for each piece besides the strings. I feel like the lining really just helps to prevent anything from being extra see-through, and it just added some weight and sturdiness to the overall bikini itself and the quality of it. So I have my 2 pieces for my bikini top, the front and the back for the bottoms, and my 5 pieces of cutouts for my string. So I started off by doing the front of my bikini bottoms. You can start anywhere that you want, but basically I started by folding a 1/2 to 1/4 inch of that seam allowance, and you're gonna just pin that up. You wanna do this on both sides of that front part. Next, we're gonna just create a straight stitch down that fold, and I think my machine settings were on stitch length of 3, and at this point I was doing a stretchy stitch, but I took that out and just did a regular stitch. Now when you're doing this, you want to make sure that the lining and the actual pattern cloth is connected, so you're not missing anything out and you don't have to go back in and add more stitches, and it just makes the whole thing look messy. So you're gonna repeat that exact same step to all of the pieces. You just sew that onto the sides. As you guys can see, I did this to the back part of the bottom, the 2 pieces of the bikini top, and there you go. The next step is to make the actual loop for our string to go through. Because I don't have a serger, I went ahead and I did a zigzag stitch along the edge. And then we're gonna start making a small loop. So I think I made about a 1/2 inch loop, and you wanna make the loop to the size of your string that is gonna be. And my string wasn't too big nor was it too small. It was about 1/2 inch, so I made a 1/2 inch loop. So for me, when I'm making a loop, I like to pin down the edges first, so one end and the other end, because it just prevents the cloth from stretching over too much when you're doing the entire fold, and it just makes everything easier so you're not like going out of place. You guys, I'm so bad at explaining, so I hope this is clear enough. If you guys do want me to do a more in-depth tutorial, because it was sort of hard to film at first, and I didn't plan on filming this, so it's not the clearest instructions. Arum. So once you have that fold, it's supposed to look like this. Then you just go ahead and do a straight stitch along the edge of that fold. And it should look something like this. Next, we're gonna go ahead and create the strings. So this is a 1 inch piece of cloth that I cut out, and I folded it in half. Then you're gonna put the right sides facing with the wrong side facing you. You're just gonna pin along the edge. That's where you're gonna sew. Make sure when you're stitching it's not too close to the edge, because you are going to experience ripping. Once you tug and you pull on the strings, it comes apart easily. So make sure you're doing a very sturdy stitch and you're not too close to the edge. So once it looks like this and it's closed on one end and open on the other, I do not have like a loop turner, I think that's what they call it, so I used a pen to push it. So I started pushing on the part that is closed all the way till I got to the end that is open, just to turn this like entire loop around. Now when you're doing this, and if you're using a pen, probably don't use a pen, use like a pencil crayon or something that has the exact same width as this, because my pen broke and there was ink on the cloth. I don't know why I didn't film this part, but you're going to attach the front and the back of the bikini by the crotch. You're going to create a straight stitch across, finish off the edges with a zigzag stitch. Next, we're going to go ahead and make the loops for our top part of the bikini. We're almost done, you guys, like literally. So I went ahead and created a zigzag stitch at the end just for neatness. And just like I did with the bikini bottoms, I'm pinning the end of that loop that I'm going to make first, and then folding it down about 1/2 inch. And then you go ahead and create a straight stitch across that fold. Should look something like this. Make sure that your loops are open so you have place to put your string through. Next, we're gonna go ahead and take our string. So as you guys can see here, I have 5 pieces of string, 2 for the bottoms, 2 for the strap, and 1 to wrap around your body at the bottom of the bikini. So here I'm going ahead and attaching my straps. Now initially I had this piece open to try to put the strap through that little hole, but that didn't work out. So I'm just attaching the straps just like this. Next, we're gonna go ahead and push our string through the actual loops. So I'm going ahead and using a safety pin and just guiding that through the loop of the bottom parts. And then I did the same with the back. And this is what it should look like. Literally that quick and that easy. Make sure when you're doing this that the triangles for the bikini top are facing in the exact same direction, so you don't have to do this over again. So I tried the bikini top on and the strings were way too long, so I went ahead and I just cut them. And to secure the end, because this material didn't fray, it was more of like a stretchy material that was not fraying at the edges, I didn't feel the need to go ahead and stitch it or anything. I just made a knot at the end and I just pulled it till it was a size of my liking, and this was the outcome. It's literally simple, you guys. This took me like a day to make. I started in the nighttime, so I just finished it the next day, but really simple, really quick, really easy. This is my first time, so it's not perfect, but yeah, you guys, went from this to this. My summer body hasn't even loaded yet, so I probably won't even wear this anywhere, but I love the outcome of this bikini. I was super surprised. If you do make this, make sure you tag me in the picture or send me a picture of it. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.
But remember, don't hesitate to call on me for anything.